Hey there, fellow Overlanders and 4x4 enthusiasts. Welcome to another episode in the Elundu project. As you can see behind me, I'm doing some work. But last time I told you I suffered a couple of little problems on my attempted trip to enter Namibia. None of them game changers or game stoppers. Two small problems. One was the interior lights that I at one point couldn't turn them off. And they wouldn't work individually. They somehow working together with all the doors where they should be separate. And also the back wiper that wouldn't turn off on intermittent. It just stayed on intermittent. I ended up having to disconnect the motor. So over the last 3 weeks, we've had consistent rain here. I haven't been able to do too much work. So I've been every now and again when there's a gap in the rain, I've been going in and doing a little bit of work. But in an attempt to find those faults, I found something else. I'm going to show you something now. You won't believe this. In my efforts to find the problem with the interior light and the wiper, I've been doing a little bit of work on this thing over the couple of months that I had it before I went on my trip. And every now and again, I duck my head under the dashboard to try and run a wire or something. And I noticed a lot of wiring that definitely wasn't part of the original car. But I never knew where these wires went to. As you can see there are thick wires with fuses in them. And there's coaxial cable. There's all sorts. I know what the coaxial cable used to be used for. They've had a radio in the car at one stage. But I never knew where any of these wires went to, so I just left them where they were, and some of them were live. All I did was make sure that the connections where I could get to them, excuse me, were safe, and I left it like that. But if you have come to this video on Instagram, click on the link above and watch the rest of this on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, watch on. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you where I've ended up. Okay, so you've seen the heap of wires, and this is how I found them. If you look inside here, the place is pretty much a mess. I have had to strip out, or the more I looked, the more I had to strip. Taken the dash apart, most of the dash, and as you can see, everything is lying here on the back seat. There's the radio down there. Yeah, it's pretty much a mess. But as I told you in earlier, every time I stuck my head under this dashboard, I've discovered something, wiring that just didn't belong there, and I didn't know where it goes. So I didn't want to go and yank on them or disconnect them because I didn't know what I was going to be turning off somewhere down the line. So I just left them there. Well, now that I've opened up everything and I've been able to find it, especially when I took out the radio. These thick wires, as you saw there in the bunch just now, very thick wires, 20 amp fuses in them, going into the dash that I didn't know where. It ends up they're going nowhere. They've been blanked off, taped up, and there they were just sitting. So I have managed to remove that much wiring out of this car. Some of it was being used. I don't know why. There was a very clever little system installed. These cars don't come out standard with a headlight warning buzzer. If you turn the ignition off while your headlights are on. As far as I know, they don't. This thing's always had a buzzer, and I found the circuit for it. This is part of it here, this little relay, and the wiring underneath here. But it's wired into the headlight circuit. But whoever installed it must have known what they were doing. They didn't do a bad job. But they had the input for the buzzer coming from the park and taillights, which is one circuit, and from the high and low beam, which is another circuit. Which is two totally separate circuits. And to keep them apart, they used diodes, which was very clever, and it worked 100%. But after having a good look at it and studying the wiring diagrams, it became clear that the park lamps and taillights come on with all the other lights in any configuration. It doesn't matter what you do. The way they had it, even if I flashed the headlights while the car was off, as I flashed the headlights, the buzzer would also beep, which I didn't want to happen. So after studying the wiring diagrams, I eventually disconnected the circuit that they had working from the high and low beams completely. Did away with all the diodes, and now I just use the park lamp circuit and the taillight circuit. So if the park and taillights are on, the buzzer will go off if you turn the ignition off. Works like a charm. I don't have the keys on me at the moment. I could show you, but works like an absolute charm, and it's all nice and tidy now. It was all hanging there in a bunch, and that relay was hanging by a cable tie from a hole somewhere above. I've got it now fixed, and everything's tidied up. So all of that has been fixed, and I still haven't even got to finding the problem with the overhead lights or the courtesy lights inside and the wiper motor. So my search for a fault in the wiper and internal light circuits has ended up with me taking this all apart. Now, I'm not sorry I did it, because as you've seen, that whole heap of wire came out of this car from behind the dashboard to going out to the back. They must have had some sort of a 12-volt system in this thing before, but they left everything behind. All the wires, all the connectors, all the sockets. The sockets are still there. I'm not going to take them out because they're going to leave holes in the panel, so I'm just going to leave them there. But yeah, I'm just going to take you around the other side of the car so you can get a better view of what I've done here. And there we go. That's under the dashboard. You can see I've got a lot of stuff installed here. One other problem that I have, that I discovered in PE actually, while installing a tracker unit into the car, is I discovered a burned earth wire. And I traced the earth wire from the plug just underneath there, the main plug going through to the engine bay, the wiring loom. I traced the earth wire back to the earth connection on the back of the cylinder head. And I couldn't fathom out how this wire could have been melted until it struck me. If you try and start this motor, the starter motor draws a hell of a lot of current. And if you try and start this motor without the main earth from the battery to the engine block connected, all the starting current from the starter motor is trying to go through little earth wires that have been earthed to the motor, and that for various other reasons. And that is how this wire got burned. Now I have replaced that earth wire all the way from the plug here on the engine bay side, but I haven't done inside the car, and I can see the wire is melted going into the harness here. So I'm thinking that this is the cabin side of the plug, and that this plug goes through the firewall. Now I've replaced that earth wire that way through the firewall and on the engine bay side, or the engine side of the firewall. But as you can see, this wire is pretty melted. Now I'm pretty sure that is responsible, because it goes up here and then it goes across to the driver's side. This is a right-hand drive. I can see that this wire goes into the harness up the top here, and it goes that way towards the driver's side, towards all the switches and everything else. And I'm pretty sure that is where my fault is coming from with the interior light circuit, as well as the wiper motor circuit. So yeah, I've got a bit of work to do. I honestly don't want to strip the dash anymore, but I think I might just have to get to this wire in the harness, because this is the hole where the radio fits in. It's impossible to get to that harness going through towards the driver's side. So I'm afraid I'm probably going to end up having to strip this whole dashboard out, which I was really not looking forward to. But taking it apart this far, I'm actually glad I did it, because I've now managed to, well, set my mind at ease. Although I didn't discover any dangerous connections or anything, I can now rest assured that those wires are not going to cause a problem. And well, I've removed them all, which simplifies everything for me. I understand more what's happening in the car itself. You just remember, this is an old car, and I'm taking it into some pretty remote places. So I need to understand how it works as much as possible, which is why I'm doing all the work myself. Because if I break down in the middle of nowhere somewhere, there's only one person I can count on, and that's myself. So yeah, I'm afraid that's where we are at the moment. The car is perfectly usable. Everything works. I could actually physically get in and drive it at the moment. You can see, let me just move here. You can see I've taken this section loose, but I can't remove it from the car because of these two, well, not the Bluetooth, the phone microphone and the switch for the spotlight, the light bar, has been stuck on here with some really nice tape, and I don't want to loosen it. So this is tethered to the car at the moment. But yeah, as you can see on that side, the carpets are also pulled up, because while I was busy here, I stuck my hand down to feel the wiring going down, and I felt damp. And because the car has been standing outside the last 3 days, because I've got the roof rack and tent on the roof, I can't fit it in the garage. Did I just say 3 days? 3 weeks. It's been standing outside for the last 3 weeks in the basically pouring rain most of the time. And obviously I've got a leak somewhere. I've got a suspicion it's the windscreen rubber, but that's a minor one. I will find that when I've done with the electrics. But yeah, that's all I have at the moment for you. The reason why I haven't taken the roof rack off the car and put it in the garage is because I had planned on taking my girlfriend for a weekend away, just to experience the 4x4 and the 4x4 scene, camping outdoors, and the rooftop tent. See if she likes it or not. So that has caused it to stand in the rain for the last 3 weeks. But now with this problem, it's going to keep me occupied for a while. I don't really want to go and drive it around with a dashboard that's half stripped, and I don't want to go and put the dash together until I've fixed up all the problems. So yeah, keep following me. Remember, these things are, this is also being a 29-year-old vehicle, you can expect things like this. It's nothing new. I'm not surprised. I actually look forward to this. You know, I've been trying to come up with call it a logo for my channel. And I think it's going to be, don't buy it, build it yourself. So I will end off every video from now on with that quote. So don't forget to like the video, share it on as many platforms as you can out there. That's how the YouTube knows that my video is liked and appreciated by people, and they will suggest it to more people. So yeah, like and subscribe, follow me, and let's see where this takes us. Don't buy it, build it yourself. Cheers.